Right, today we're going to go from this
to this. It might be dark, but it's done.
Right, so today we're something a bit different for the Vag boys. We're on an R32 Mk5. It's Mitchell's car. He's got, I think it's standard shocks with just lowering springs, apex springs. So he's had a few problems. One side's a bit lower than the other. So he has invested in some Bilsteins B14 kits. They're adjustable. I think the minimum drop is something like 10mm at the front. Is that right? 20 at the front and 10 at the back, but they're adjustable. So they're shiny, and the ones he's got on aren't. So we'll just give a quick guide. It's quite simple on these, even though they're full motion. So we'll guide you through it. So the first thing we'll do is we'll do the front and then the back. So the fronts will obviously just wheels up and get the wheels off, and then we'll have a look what we need to do. We'll get the bonnet up obviously as well to get to the top of the struts. So be it.
Alright, other than the usual jack and axle stands, which are obviously necessary for this job, 2 would be a good idea. So you can do 2 sides at a time. The old system comes with its own keys, which obviously you're going to need. You might have them anyway. We're taking a picture then. And then you'll need some other tools. So the tools we needed was a 17mm spanner, an 18mm spanner, 21mm spanner, and then a 20mm, either socket or spanner. I've only got it in spanner. That was for the top of the front struts. You'll need some Allen keys, 7, 6. A screwdriver never hurts. If you're using spring compressors, which you might be if you're swapping the tops over, then whatever socket, mine's an 11, that goes with that. Levers are always a good idea. I've got a massive lever, which you might have seen later in the video. Socket to take the wheels off. Some oil and a brush to clean things up. 18mm was used quite a bit, as was a 16mm and a 21mm. And then we've got some grips, a breaker bar, and then this, which is... Oh yeah, where's my grease gone? Thank you. And some copper grease, which we've used on the splines and bits and bobs. Like the wheel nuts were really rusty, so we just popped them on that. And then I've got a few of these, which are shown in the video, which go in the back where the split on the hub is, and you can twist it. There's actually a sump key, but it works the same way. You twist it, and it opens up the hub and allows you to drop the strut out. So that's all you'll need, just those few.
Right, so the wheels are off. We found a nice safe place on the rear bushes. I think they're called cunch bushes or something weird. Console, apparently. Yeah, rear P bush to everyone that's Peugeot. And there's our beautiful, oh my goodness, they look nice, don't they? With standard shocks, so they'll come out. At the top here, you have to obviously get to the trim. So you take the rubber bit off, which he's just done there. And really, you should take this bit of plastic out, so he'll do that next. That's the owner. So you need to take the caps off there, and then there'll be a 13 under each of them, and then the wipers will come off, and then we can take this bit of trim out to get to the tops of the struts. And you can stay nice and warm because it's slightly toasty in the VR6. And do you know what the VR6 stands for? V-Reinenmotor, which means inline 6. Inline V, because it's not really a V6. Don't tell him. So while he's getting that piece of trim off the top, I just lost that bit of trim, and the wipers off. Under here, what we can do is first get the anti-roll bar link off, which looks to be like a 18 or 19, I would have thought. And we can loosen off this bolt here as well. Hang on, you can't see that because of the light. That bolt there as well. Pretty simple. We'll probably just get that nice ABS sensor wiring just out of the way. So whack that as well. Pretty simple. So note brave. We're just going to hold the plastic up because, yeah, the temptation to give these a bit of a razz to pull the wiper arms off. While I'm less tempted on this car because it's a bit nicer than mine. You could get a little puller in if you were really bothered, but I can't bother to walk into the barn to get one. So we're just going to probably hold these up and take those 3 13mm off, just with jamming up the bit of plastic. There's a bit of flex in there. Top tip, don't bother. Right, a little tip, it's not working beautifully at the moment, but if you get a little socket in the back there, which is actually for sumps, set like that, find the right size square socket, jam it in the back and twist it through 90, and that opens up the clamp at the back there, and then you haven't got to hold a lever in there or jam a chisel in while you smack the hub here, not there, and it should drop down. And we're soon to find out if you've got enough space and enough leverage to drop the lower arm down so we can pull the strut out. If not, we'll just have to compress the spring a little bit and do it that way. We'll bodge it somehow, won't we? Yeah, like a nonce, I can admit that I'm an idiot most of the time, especially when I'm working on a piece of junk like this. So there's a little tab that underneath here, you have to get the bolt out, you can't just leave it in, which I had. So you get the bolt out, and then there's a tab that's also like a safety tab that slots up. So what we've done also, we've just compressed the springs a bit, just take the pressure off the damper, and now we're just going to raise with this rod here on the bottom of the damper and a jack, raise the damper, and then we can drop the hub, swing the bottom out, take the 313s off the top, which are in there, and then she'll swing out like a peach. Right, so they're a bit lighter. The old units, I think we haven't got to take them apart because clever lad here, I got him to get himself some new top mounts, some Piggy Bilsteins as well. So they come complete. We've wound the adjusters right down to the bottom. He's got a full car load, he's going to on holiday soon, so that's part of the reason. Obviously there's a good 50-60mm of adjustment there you could use. A good idea to bed it in first, let it settle, and then you get it to the alignment and get it adjusted perfectly. But just before we put it all together, because you didn't just see me put it all together and take it apart again, we're going to grease the hell out of those splines. It might not look nice and shiny, but it's going to mean you can adjust it. So copper grease, put it all on those splines, and then you're never going to have problems when you want to adjust later on in the day. Right then, she's in. Hang on, not quite. Hang on, final touch. Just moved the ABS wire out of the way, not because we needed to remove it, because I didn't want to wallop it with a hammer. That would have been annoying. So it's in, we just need to do the 3 13mm nuts on the top there. And as you can see, we've greased the threads quite nicely. I chose not to grease here. It's a bit of a sore point. Probably a few people will comment on that now. There are dissimilar metals, yes, but I prefer not to. Obviously, hopefully these won't come out for some time. Done all the bolts up nice and tight, and then we will start on the other side now. Okay, so the rear assembly is a little bit simpler than the front. They have a separate spring to damper setup. It's pretty simple at the top. There's two 16 mils. Yeah, we were surprised as well. And then you basically drop the top, the lower arm will drop down, you can take the spring out, and then you can get to that bolt there, which has to come all the way out to get the damper off. And then you just fit in reverse. It's as simple as that. And he just took the wheel off. Yeah, we're just brushing and spraying those lower bolts I forgot to tell you about, because of course to drop this spring out of the way, there's a bolt down there. See it? There she is. So you just need to undo that one. It's a good idea to put the jack under it, undo it, take the pin out, and then you can lower it down without just banging on the floor. And then we can get the spring out, and then we can get the damper out. I'm making it up as I go along.
Sombre te sert à la lueur d'un empire. Tu effleures ton image, crois-tu avoir connu le pire? Tu n'es plus là sans âge, seul tout sans...
There we go. Right, folks. So these are our rear dampers. Again, Mitch has got some new tops with these Piggy Bilstein as well. I think well worth it. They've got a little bush inside there, which it all runs on. And the only thing we need to swap over is just a little dust cap that goes on the top there. You also got some new bump stops, as you probably then just saw. The old ones are absolutely, just like falling to bits, like rotten themselves. And obviously then the dust cover's not much good anymore either. So it should be a simple case of popping our dust cover on our bump stop, sliding over, like so. And the mount on, like that. That doesn't look quite right, but soon find out. And then that will go on. Now inside there is Allen key to hold it, and then you have to obviously do that up with the spanner, which we'll do in a second.
Push the bump stop into the
bump stop will pop into there, like so. One new damper. Everything brand new. That's very cool.
Don't do things by halves.
There's like a good satisfaction to that feeling, isn't there? And you've got like, well, the bottom bolt won't be new. Oh. Rubbish. You should have got new ones. And there's this little dust cover that's not new.
Oh well.
Let's give up. Let's go home.
Yeah. Let's go get some food.
Righto, so these are the adjusters for the rear, so this will sit in the rear there at the back, in that little cup, and then our spring sits on top of this, and then also you can adjust the height where you want it. Now he wants a bit of rake, and he's got a bit of a holiday coming up, and lots of people in the back, so we're just going to set them in the middle of the month. The front's at the bottom, the rear seems slightly easier to adjust anyway, so that's the way we're going to do it. And then that just sits on a spring, that sits in there, then we can jack that point up there, put the bolt in, and then do the top ones up.
De retour sur ton pied. geste habile. Saisis tes membres, ton esprit. Seul tout semble plus facile, mais rien n'arrête la machine qui s'étire. Accroche la raison qui s'effile, le corps et les rêves sont les satires.
So that's how she looks when she's kind of together. Just at the top here, we've locked those off now, mid-pace. Only goes up one way, writing facing up actually, which is good. But it locks in the bottom there. If you can just see that. Locks in down there. You twist it in, as you probably just saw. And at the top there, we just used a jack underneath. And just jack it up so those holes line up. And we'll run those bolts, which are in here, hopefully. 1 and 2. Straight in, which are 18s if I hadn't mentioned that earlier on the video. The boys are struggling in the dark over there. Doing the other one. Can we just see him over there? Muttering. Oh, hello.
Don't.
Just thought we could video Ruan doing some work, that was all. It's such a rare moment, it needs videoing.
If that goes online, I will remove your...
So we've been out and we've adjusted it at the front because it was scrubbing. And it looks pretty level now, I've got to admit. You can see that. Got some light on the other side. Looks pretty level to what the back was, which is quite cool now. There we go. It literally was where you can get your finger between the arch, and obviously, unless you've got rock hard springs, which are just undrivable, or air, whatever, because you're smart and you've got a loan and you spend 10 grand on air suspension that is pointless, then this is an unbelievably good compromise. We had 4 up, it handled amazingly, just a shame the front was scrubbing so we couldn't push so hard. So we've raised it 20mm at the front now, should match the back, give them great drivability, great handling, and adjustable height, so if at some points he goes to a show he can just slam it, just with that key that you just saw, or if he wants to raise it because he's literally got a ton of stuff in the boot, then literally just gets a couple of spanners and he lifts the back end. So that was how to upgrade your suspension on your R32. Other Golfs would apply in the same manner. It doesn't matter if it's a four-wheel drive version or not, it does apply the same way. So Golfs Mk5s, B14 suspension, non-adjustable shocks, adjustable height. That's how it is. Job done. Let's go and have curry. I'm starving. Nom 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 nom. got them in a jar.
Yeah, on the mantelpiece.